1 year ago, I started with £100 and a crazy idea to buy broken bikes, fix them up, and somehow flip my way to an e-bike for my dad. After 13 episodes, countless setbacks, and 9 bikes later, today is finally the day that we're going to surprise him with the e-bike and see his reaction.
Oh my God.
What started as a simple idea turned into way more than I expected. There were plenty of bikes that we bought that looked like absolute bargains until they completely fell apart. We had to face snap derailleurs, seized seat posts, mystery creaks coming from somewhere on the bike, angry customers, and more Facebook Marketplace deals than I'd ever like to admit. Some flips made great profit, whilst others almost ended the challenge altogether. I bought bikes that people thought were completely dead, rescued abandoned projects, dealt with some seriously questionable repairs, and somehow we turned all of that into this growing cash pot. Along the way, I learned how difficult bike flipping really is, especially when every single pound mattered. But this challenge was never really about making money. It was about getting to this moment. And the reason that this challenge mattered so much to me starts with my dad. A year ago, whilst on holiday, my dad started to notice a burning sensation in his leg. After a few days of it getting worse, he decided to go to the hospital, and after a number of scans, they determined that he had a blood clot in his leg. Thankfully, it wasn't immediately life-threatening, but the nurse did tell him had he have left it a few more days, it potentially could have been far more serious. And that was a huge wake-up call for my family. I think when you're younger, you just assume that your parents are invincible, but hearing that my dad was in real danger really put things into perspective for me. We never really found out exactly what the cause of the clot was. Potentially it could have been the long drive, or it might just be poor circulation. But one thing was obvious: sitting still for long periods of time certainly wasn't going to help this situation. And so it got me thinking about the different ways that I could help him to get more active once he'd recovered from his surgery. One thing that historically me and him have always loved doing is mountain biking. I've got some great memories of me and him riding around the Peak District, getting lost, getting completely soaked in the rain, dealing with our bikes falling apart in front of us. But the Peak District isn't exactly easy riding. The climbs can be brutal, and as you're getting older, especially recovering from surgery, that can become a real barrier. And that's where the idea of an e-bike came from. I used to be pretty skeptical about e-bikes, but I've just heard so many stories from people saying it's really helped them get back out riding after they've had health problems or just as they're getting older, that I had to check it out. And honestly, it made perfect sense. So I decided I'm going to get my dad an e-bike. The problem was, however, I knew that never in a million years would he let me go out there and just buy one for him. So instead, I started this challenge: buying broken bikes, fixing them up, with the eventual goal of buying him an e-bike. And that somehow led us here to this e-bike. Whilst it's not quite ready yet, there is a couple of things that we've got to do before we go and then surprise him with this bike. This bike came with a dropper post, but I don't think my dad is ever going to use it. And if he never uses it, he won't maintain it. And if it's not maintained, it will just break. So I'm going to rip this out, put a static post in there, and I think that will work much better for his use case. And it wouldn't be a DJFXC video without a silly mistake thrown in. Oh my goodness, the battery actually won't go back in.
Where's it been?
Hang on. Can't get it back out either.
Have you done anything different?
Yeah, oh yeah, I have actually. I've rerouted one of the cables.
Oh, can you
Oh, hang on. Right. Hang on. And with that now sorted, I had to get the bike cleaned up so it's looking its best. One thing that I mentioned in the last episode is how many e-bikes get problems from jetting water into the drive motor main seal. So for washing, I wasn't going to take any risks. So first of all, I'm using the hose on a shower setting, so it's not a jet. And I've also wrapped a slightly greasy rag around both of the cranks to reduce any amount of water from impacting that area. I can then come in and manually clean around that area with a cloth, which hopefully reduces any risk of water getting inside of the motor. And then just finishing it off by giving the chain a good clean to reduce the amount of dirt and grit, which will accelerate wear on that drivetrain. But as you can see, the bike came up really well and should also operate nice and smoothly too. So my dad can be quite funny about any sort of fire safety stuff. He's the sort of person to switch all the sockets and stuff off before he leaves the house. So I thought he might be a bit nervous about having a big lithium-ion battery stored in his house. So I've decided to go out and buy one of these. It's a fireproof bag. And the nice thing is with this e-bike is you can actually remove the battery, as we've already seen, store it and charge it in this bag. Now, I don't know how good this bag is because none of the 5-star reviews on Amazon actually said that it contained a fire in the bag, but I'm going to assume that it's been made to some sort of standard and it would hopefully at least delay a potential fire. The other thing that I was thinking as well, and this isn't advice by the way, is that you can put the battery in the bag when you're transporting it in the car. That way, if it looks like it's going to start smoking, I can just throw the whole battery out of the car before the whole thing bursts into flames. Don't worry, the battery wasn't in that bag. And there's one more thing that I want to include with this e-bike for my dad, but I've got to go and order it and then pick it up. Historically, my dad hasn't been the best at maintaining his bikes, so I've gone out and got him printed one of my bike maintenance tracker posters. He hasn't got much garage space, so I've gone and printed it out in A2 in this kind of nice glossy material so he can write on it. But my thinking is if he's got a visual representation of what it is that needs to be keeping an eye on the bike, then hopefully he's much more likely to actually maintain it. One of the things that I'll be keen to highlight on here is with the drive motor unit, avoiding water spray on the motor when he's cleaning it, making sure he's keeping it as dry as he possibly can do as well. What we've got to do now then is get the bike in the car, drive over to him, and then get his reaction of the bike. Dad, let's have a look at this. So, you know you wanted an e-bike?
Yeah.
A couple of years ago?
Yeah.
And then you never got one?
What the hell? Oh my god.
It's for you.
Hey?
It's for you.
What the hell?
Nice. Wow, that's
How much was that?
Well, starting at £100 because basically I flipped my way from 100 quid to then try and flip my way up to this.
No. You can't do that.
Yeah, seriously.
No, you can't. What about?
Do you want to have a go on it?
Yeah, but I'll buy that off you.
No.
Otherwise you won't get your profit out of your bike flipping. No, I'll buy it off.
Honestly, it's what I wanted to do from the beginning. So, seriously,
That is crazy.
Dad, it's fine. It's yours.
No, damn, thank you very much. But I'm going to buy that off you.
No, honestly, please.
No, I have. I really have to.
I think we will really enjoy riding. And after that shock wore off, my dad and I hopped into the car and headed off for our first ride in the Peak District. And whilst my dad was initially insistent that he wanted to buy the bike off me, we've instead agreed to donate some money to 4 great cycling related charities in the UK, half of which we'll split equally between them. And because I wanted to get you, the audience, involved, I've set up a poll below where you can vote on how we distribute the other half. And with that, let's see how my dad gets on his first ride on the bike in years. This bike. Oh my goodness, the brakes. Yeah, I will. Whilst my dad was understandably going quite steady on his first ride back, it was just so good to be out enjoying the trail with him again after what feels like such a long time. Throughout the series, I've never asked for any likes or anything like that because you've all been so good at doing that anyway and providing that feedback, but I think it would be so cool if we could get this video on the front page of YouTube. So if you have enjoyed this series, make sure to drop a like, and if you're early enough, to put a hype down there as well. In some ways, I thought my dad's reaction earlier wasn't going to be quite as important as his reaction after actually riding the bike. So let's get his thoughts on his first ride on his new electric mountain bike.
Fabulous. I don't think actually I've enjoyed being on a bike so much. I could go all the way across this,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be thinking, oh, I don't think I'll do that. I'd be thinking, I'll just go there. I wouldn't see obstacles now.
So I've come up here to reflect on this challenge now it's all said and done, and it was only a year ago since I was last walking through this exact spot, and at the time I'd made some pretty big personal achievements. The only problem was it was only a few days afterwards that I was already looking at the next challenge, and that's because a lot of those personal achievements have only really been for just me, and so they've been not very long lasting achievements and they felt quite hollow. And especially with all the issues going on with my dad at the time, I was looking for a challenge that had an outcome that was for somebody else and not just me. See, I've always been a massive fan of shows like Rust Valley Restorers, and I've practically grown up watching people on YouTube like Seth's Bike Hacks, which is now known as Burn Peak. So I really wanted to take inspiration from the things that I've enjoyed watching and try and put my own personal spin on them, telling the story behind each bike and showing the process and the realities of bike flipping in the UK. Some people might say it's only restoring a few bicycles and it's not exactly rocket science, but in all seriousness, it has been a huge challenge for me and I've made plenty of mistakes along the way. And it's thanks to you, the audience, for supporting me and providing plenty of useful tips and tricks that we can all use. And that's the only reason that I think we've made it to the end of this challenge and got the outcome that we wanted. I have to say, it's been great for the mind to be doing something completely new and challenging outside of work. It's been great for the body to be up and about and working with my hands rather than spending my evenings sat watching TV and eating popcorn. Whether you believe in it or not, it's been great for the soul as well, to be doing something bigger than me and not just for me. I think if there's anything that you take away from this series, it would be to not be afraid of trying something new and making some mistakes along the way. And that if life is feeling hollow, just doing something for someone else, no matter how big or small, is one of the most meaningful and fulfilling things that you can do in life. It might feel a little bit like the end here, but for me, it just feels like the beginning. I really feel like I'm only just getting started here, for there are many more bikes out there that need restoring and many more deserving people that need them. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you.